Two posterior cardinal veins develop as longitudinal vessels dorsolateral to the mesonephric ridge. Cranially, each posterior cardinal vein communicates with the anterior cardinal vein. Caudally, it receives two veins. External iliac vein moves from the lower limb and internal iliac vein from the pelvis. Caudally, both the posterior cardinal vein develop a transverse anastomosis between them. Two subcardinal veins develop dorsomedial to the mesonephric ridge. Cranially and caudally, both the subcardinal veins communicate with the posterior cardinal veins. Each subcardinal vein receives a mesonephric vein from the developing kidney, and both the sides of subcardinal vein develop a transverse anastomosis between them, known as renal anastomosis or pre-aortic anastomosis. Cephalic portion of right subcardinal vein develops anastomosis with the common hepatic vein, or which is also known as right hepatocardiac channel. Afterwards, two supracardinal veins develop. Each supracardinal vein communicates cranially and caudally with the posterior cardinal vein. Plus, each supracardinal vein develops anastomosis with the part of subcardinal vein which lies just inferior to the renal vein. Majority of these longitudinal venous channels disappear. The part of this longitudinal venous channel which persists forms the inferior vena cava, renal and suprarenal veins, as well as gonadal vein. So the inferior vena cava develops in three segments: postrenal segment, renal segment, and hepatic segment. Postrenal segment develops from three different sources indicated by three different colors. The first source is caudal part of the right posterior cardinal vein located between the openings of right supracardinal vein as well as transverse anastomotic channel indicated by blue color. The second source is caudal part of right supracardinal vein itself indicated by orange color, and the third part develops from the anastomotic channel between right supracardinal vein and right subcardinal vein. The renal segment of inferior vena cava develops from the right subcardinal vein which receives renal and suprarenal veins, and the hepatic segment of inferior vena cava develops from two sources. One is anastomotic channel between the cephalic part of right subcardinal vein and common hepatic vein, and the second source is common hepatic vein itself. Anomalies of inferior vena cava: it could be double inferior vena cava, could be left inferior vena cava, or absence of inferior vena cava above the renal vein, or it could be a retrocaval ureter. If both the sides of the subcardinal vein and supracardinal vein persist, it leads to the development of the infrarenal segment of inferior vena cava on both the sides. If right side of the venous channels disappear and the infrarenal portion of the inferior vena cava develops on left side, it is known as left inferior vena cava. And when the anastomotic channel between the right subcardinal vein and common hepatic vein fail to develop, it leads to the absence of inferior vena cava above the renal veins. Usually, second portion of the infrarenal segment of inferior vena cava develops from the right supracardinal vein, but instead of right supracardinal vein, if it develops from the right subcardinal vein, it leads to the retrocaval ureter. Right common iliac vein develops from the portion of right posterior cardinal vein which lies between the opening of iliac veins as well as opening of the transverse anastomotic channel, whereas left common iliac vein develops from the transverse anastomotic channel between the two posterior cardinal veins. Right renal vein develops from right mesonephric vein which drains into right subcardinal vein, whereas left renal vein develops from three sources: left mesonephric vein, a portion of left subcardinal vein, as well and renal anastomosis, which is pre-aortic in nature. That's why left renal vein passes in front of aorta. Both the suprarenal vein develop from the proximal part of both subcardinal veins above the renal anastomosis, as well as both the gonadal vein develop from the distal part of both the subcardinal vein below the renal anastomosis. That's why on the right side suprarenal and gonadal vein open directly into the inferior vena cava, whereas on the left side suprarenal and gonadal vein open into the left renal vein.